And hello, guys. Welcome back. Uh, this is another episode of Industrials.Black plays Minecraft. Feed the Beast Monster. I've redecorated a bit. I removed this big thing of a reactor and moved the wall back one space. Put up some redstone energy cells because that was needed. Because we need a little buffer. And then I made this little area. As you can see, it's dangerous. Do not walk past this line. There's a sludge boiler there from the tree farm directly into the ME interface that goes into the ME system and exits in here with all the other good stuff. And this looks almost like it did. I've added a few more barrels because certain things I don't want to keep a ton of. I want a barrel full, and the priority here is 64, as you know. The priority on this storage bus is 32. It could be anything between 1 and 64 because 1 and 2 are the only ones we have used upstairs. But since it's higher than the disks, it will store here rather than in the disks. So it would rather throw away any excess of these materials. That is just how I like it. And then the cobblestone and the smooth stone are automatically refilled here. For now, that is what we have. So I want to show you this before we get started with the rest of the episode. I set up an assembly table quickly and then I tore it down again, just to make this gate I talked about. Inventory empty, redstone signal, and as we know, this one controls the tank, the motor, the engine. So when this one has a redstone signal, this one has nothing or won't power anything. So currently off. And then I have an export bus that exports ethanol crystals. This one has an import bus back there, pulling stacks this time. And this precision export bus is currently configured for gold. And I wanted to show you that it works. So let's take one tin, go over to this precision export bus, throw the tin in there, and as you can see, it automatically starts going. This one does not have a redstone signal at the moment, and is therefore powering this. And every ethanol crystal gives about a minute of running, so it's quite cheap. I just went over with a shear to the magical forest from Thaumcraft and took down a ton of silverwood leaves, and every silverwood leaf combined with yeast and some power gives us a stack of sludge, which is approximately an hour of running this engine. So that's mighty cheap. And we're gonna build this ME molecular assembly chamber here. I've marked the outlines. And now that we have the items that we need, we can start building the molecular assembly chamber. We need containment walls, heat vents, crafting CPUs, and pattern providers. And if you do not know anything about the molecular assembly chamber, please listen closely. The assembler containment walls make out the frame of the multi-block structure. So I should have removed the torches, but that's okay. Let's start by doing that. It's quite... oops. So these go around the sides and all the sides. You can make it any rectangular shape you want. It does not need to be a perfect square or a perfect box. I don't know what it's called in English. It does not need to be the same dimensions in height as it is in width and depth. And then the heat vents fills in the walls, the roof and the bottom, like so. Hopefully I didn't make enough. So let me just get more heat vents. Heat vents. Those, I think I need more of those. So, and ME cable. I have some here. Let's see, 9 is not enough. I think 16 could do it. So we'll have to get some more cable later and not do that. So, first of all we fill in this space. Yeah, 16 was correct. Now, if you make it a 3 by 3 by 3, so like here, pillar here, and roof here and wall there, like that, you only have one spot in the middle. That needs to be a pattern provider, because the multi-block in itself is a crafting CPU. And the pattern provider, well, by the name of it, we can assume that it provides patterns, and that is correct. So, as you see here, you have one full inventory of patterns, and every one of these provides a page just like this with patterns. You will understand what I mean in a second. So like so, and then heat vents like that. Then the crafting CPUs. Now you can see here the pages I was talking about. Now we have 6 pages. If we want, we can just break it down and extend it any direction we want. And the crafting CPUs provides 1 crafting operation per tick, so that's 20 operations per second. That's a lot. Now we have 10 plus the multi-block in itself, that's 11. So 11 crafting operations per tick. It will craft fast. So we need some more cable. Let's take 15, because we don't have enough glass for more. Now, where do we have ME cable? Here we have some ME cable. Let's just for now go down into the floor here, like so. Now the patterns that I was talking about a few episodes ago that I put in here for concrete and netherrack, we can program it to, well, anything we want, and then it will export it into the furnace whenever we want one of those smelted up. And if we go upstairs and let's go into the pattern provider, let's look at the recipe for blank patterns. Shift left click and encode. Now we have an encoded pattern telling us that this one is crafted with this. Go down and throw it in this one, like so. If we go up and access the terminal, any terminal will do, it does not have to be the crafting one, and type in pattern and show both. You can see here we have craft, and let's tell it we want a stack of them. Now if we go into the crafting monitor, it says missing material glass. That's a pity. So do we have any sand? Let's take sand. Did it craft any patterns? No, it did not. Let's throw in 6 sand in this one. No, let's throw in 3 in there and 3 in here, just to make it quicker. And come upstairs, look into crafting monitor. Now it's 1 there, it's not missing them. Now if we look up patterns, we should have a few. Good. Now if we encode this pattern, clear that 1 sand equals 1 glass. Oh, there's one. Good. 1 glass encode. And we throw this in the smelting one. If we throw this in the smelting one and go upstairs and look in this one, it's not missing the material because it automatically outputs glass into this one whenever it needs glass. So it's crafting glass. And if we look at patterns, 3, did not understand everything. I told it. So that is a furnace. That's a furnace that is working. So we do have more than 3 now. Pattern, yeah, 4. Good. Let's take those. And let's encode something else. Let's say cable. ME cable. That is something we want. Encode. We also want to tell it how to make flux dust. Encode. Now, export bus. Do I have an export bus? I have a fuzzy export bus. That is good enough. It's actually perfect. So let's take that one there and tell it to match any of these. If we put the encoded patterns in here, they will automatically get inserted into here. Later on, maybe in this episode, we will make a so-called sub-network. And it's okay if you don't know what a sub-network is, I will tell you. But it's basically a system that will handle the molecular assembly chamber. So we have, then we don't need this connection actually. The crescent hammer, let's do this. Now I'm breaking stuff, because every time you add or remove any part of the ME system, like a cable, you restart these. If you look on the screen here when I add a cable, it's just this swirly thing, which means it's rebooting. And missing materials, blank patterns, yeah. And if you shift left click these, they go away. So, pattern, U, and why you know, understand. Yeah. Oh, it's not connected through that one. That is true, of course. I'm a derp. There we go. Now, can you craft me some patterns? Give me 54 of them. And then we can start to tell it stuff. Now if we see pattern, good, and currently crafting. Later on I will also show you how to tell the system to keep something stocked, like a glass for example. If we always want at least one stack of glass that is pre-crafted for us, I will show you how to do that as well. But for now, I will take a little break and I will be back when we have more to do. As I told you before, something that you should look out for when deciding to go for ME is that you want to decide what wood will be your main wood. This is because if we look here, let's make, I want one of the jungle logs as well. Jungle wood. There we go. No, we don't. Like this. Let's type in chest. We want to make a chest. So we want to teach it how to make a chest. Now if you look here, it tells it that it wants one ash wood, one dark wood, and so on and so forth. We do not want this. If we aren't cautious, it will tell us that we are missing dark wood, because it will not look in the OR dictionary for woods when you tell it in the molecular assembly chamber how to craft it like it does in the terminal. So encode this, and I also want to tell it how to make a better barrel like this. And we want the logs, and of course we also want the half slab. So, do we have any jungle wood slabs? We did. No, that's spruce. So, like this. And if you're not careful, you can also accidentally tell it that it takes 2 jungle wood slabs to make it. If you look here, it says 7 jungle wood, 2 jungle wood slabs, and 1 chest. If we do make this mistake, we can just put it in here and remove one and re-encode this one. If we encoded something, let's say we did this, we don't want 2 patterns with the same pattern. Just shift right click to empty it. You can put it back in here. And it's good custom to press the clear button so you don't accidentally keep it in here, but you don't have to do that. So, and then of course I also want to tell it how to make these, because it doesn't know how to do that. I've taught it a bit now, not much. Basically I told it how to make all the basic AE stuff, like the conversion matrix, the interface, the import and export buses, quartz cutting knife, basic processor assemblies, and the processors with Mimikite. If you don't have Mimikite, you should make a pattern saying that this assembly equals this processor, and then put it in an interface like this, pointing into a furnace. So, as you can see here, I've also made this. I was talking about the subnetwork earlier, and a subnetwork is a network that is connected to that isn't your main network. In this case, it's not a true subnetwork because it's not directly connected to this yet. It's just another network, and it's a storage bus connected to the molecular assembly chamber, like this. Now, the problem I had here with the export bus not connecting when I removed the cable, it couldn't access the assembly chamber, was these don't connect applied energistics wise through the side that it does stuff. That is good in this case, because if we have 2 controllers in the same system, let me show you by just hooking up another cable here between the controller and this, because any ME item is considered also a cable, including this. So if I put a cable here, these will be in the same network. Nothing will work. Unable to communicate with controller. Controller conflict. No good. Remove. And all is well. So now I can access all my patterns. Let's say, for an example, for 3 weeks ago I encoded a pattern for pistons, and I accidentally left this schist cobblestone. One of the pattern, or one of the cobblestones was schist cobblestone. Now we don't have schist cobblestone, we only have ordinary cobblestone because we throw everything else away. Piston. Sticky piston. Piston. Basic import bus is crafted with a sticky piston, and an export bus is crafted with a piston. This is an awesome extra little system to have to manage your patterns. And you can also, by using something called a dark cable, this one, which is quite easy, and the lever here tells you basically what it does. It's a cable that is only active when it is powered with the redstone signal. Otherwise it's disconnected from the network. That's a very good way to minimize your energy usage, because ME systems tend to use a lot of energy when they get big. And also, in this case, we could put an interface anywhere here, like cable, interface, and then a storage bus from this system on that interface. Then this main system can access this system That is an awesome way to do this. And then this cable coming down here with the storage bus can be also connected to dark cable somewhere in the line, that we can have a lever to turn on and off to decide what we want to show in this system. If we want to be real fancy about it, these disks can be on another subnetwork that can also be shut down. So let's say we have a lever here and lever here, controller downstairs and over there, and one over there. For these, then in this monitor has no storage space. If we flip this lever, that imaginary lever that we have here, the subnetwork with these supply all their information to this one. And if we flip the lever here, the subnetwork downstairs submits all the information and all the items that it has to offer to this system. That's an awesome way to build with subnetworks. If you've played with applied logistics, you might not have played with subnetworks because that tends to be quite complicated and quite easy to make mistakes, since you can't have more than one controller. If we don't have the power line here, we can use another thing from applied logistics called the power relay, ME power relay, that in line with an ME cable. So ME cable, power relay, that connected to this controller. Then this controller takes power from this system without actually connecting information-wise controller to controller. So we can have one power line coming to the first network, and then that goes through this network and into the next network. And if we want to make it real complicated, now if you're getting a bit dizzy, don't listen. We can have something called a P2P network inside the ME network and use P2P buses to transmit power, liquids or items through the network without them entering the network. By having a P2P bus over here connected to this power line, and then a P2P bus here connected to another power line, we can transmit power from here to here without the power lines that should be required, which is awesome. And that is an awesome way to counter the fact that Ender IO gives us some awesome stuff. It's a mod. I don't use it much, but I really like it. It has ME conduits from Ender IO, and these conduits that Ender IO gives us can be placed inside the same block space. So we can have redstone signal, item transfer, no, maybe not item transfer, power transfer and ME system in the same block, which is awesome, but it's really unnecessary if we have P2P buses. So if you've listened through all this, I'm going to say that this is the end of the episode. We've done a lot in quite a little space. So thank you for watching, and hopefully you learned something. If you didn't, you are very good at applied logistics. So bye bye.